Hello and welcome back to East 1 and 2. We're going to be finishing off the shrine this time, but first there's a little bit of housekeeping we need to do. First off, returning the silver bell. Your guess is as good as mine. Okay, the power ring doubles the damage we do. However, because I am scared of everything, I will be using the shield ring. It's one of two rings I really use most of the time in this game. The other one allows you to regenerate wherever, not just in safe or outside places. And let's check up on Fina. She seems alright. Okay, so mysterious, beautiful, blue-haired girl who has no memories of a vague and yet almost certainly plot-critical past. It's worthwhile to remember that this game originally came out in 1987, and that sort of trope wasn't even a thing until Ys actually introduced it. So back to the shrine. I actually bought the middle shield, which is something I don't normally do. But considering my luck in the previous video, I decided that some sensible precautions were necessary before heading back into the shrine. Besides, it just lets me ram through some of the earlier enemies more quickly. Now, someone mentioned the soundtrack, and that's a little bit interesting in and of itself. The original compositions for Ys 1 and 2 were created by Yuzo Koshiro, who also did the music for games in the Dragon Slayer series, the Streets of Rage series, the ActRaiser games, Shenmue, and the Etrian Odyssey games. And the second composer on Ys 1 and 2 was Mieko Ishikawa. One of two keys that we will be needing. Mieko Ishikawa went on to do the soundtrack for Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys. And she's now a creative director at Falcom. Well, she did a few tracks for Ys 1. Most of them were only used in the MSX2 version of the game. However, she did almost half of the tracks in Ys 2, including the very well-regarded Subterranean Canal, which is pretty much the only time someone will find something to praise about a sewer section in a video game. So the third floor of the shrine is based around a whole lot of teleporting, and this is one of the few teleport areas where I've completely memorized everything I need to do. There are actually two full-on teleport mazes in this game, but we'll be fording that river when we come to it. This is why I don't normally buy a shield. The silver shield is the 4th tier shield and the best one you can get outside of the final dungeon. However, we will be buying the Tier 3 shield eventually. There's a very good reason you should probably buy all of the Tier 3 gear, even though there's better stuff you can actually find. Okay, the heal potion. Restores all of your life, you can only carry one of them. In earlier versions, if you... Oh, Mask of Eyes. Some people hate this item. Reveals hidden passageways, hides monsters. So anyway, the heal potion restores all of your health, but you can only carry one of them. In older versions of the game, if you found a second healing potion while you were already carrying one, Adol would just drink it right there and restore all of his hit points no matter what. But nowadays, Adol just closes the chest because he doesn't want to waste the healing drink. Okay, we now have everything we need to face the shrine boss except levels, but I'll be fixing that pretty quick. And there we go. If you don't want the boss fight to take forever, you should probably be around level 7. Now, the water effects here start to screw up the recording, that is, drop the frame rate. I don't know why that is. I don't think it's a sprite thing because I actually tested recording some of the shootier East 2 bosses and they didn't choke the recording, so I don't even know. Thankfully, the boss isn't that tough. For what's his name? For Nitelger, you just need to hit him anywhere except his head. A stunning reversal from the usual sort of thing. And with that, we get a whole bunch of experience. And the first book of Ys. Which we can't read. Oh, guess we'll have to find someone to read it to us. And we'll just leave the shrine and bam! Since this book is old, we must show it to an old person. What aren't you telling us now? Yeah, let's take it to Sarah. She's going to love to see what we've found. And Fina doesn't say anything new. It's important to keep checking on Fina because if you don't scroll through all of her events, you won't be able to progress to some of the later parts of Ys 1. It's a common sticking point that some people get jammed on when they first play the game. Now, before we head back to Minea, there's actually something else we want to grab on the overworld, once I remember how to navigate to it. There's actually a locked treasure box somewhere around here that you can only open with the key that you find in the shrine. Monsters are no trouble. And hey, a tree. Yeah, one thing about the Rhoda tree is that monsters can't actually approach within a certain distance of it, so if you can run to one, you can heal safely or whatever. So, an out-of-the-way treasure box, locked up, containing a piece of paper. We did not get a good treasure roll. However, there's a little event you can only do if you have the piece of paper, which I'll be showing off in due time. Apparently my navigation isn't doing too well either. I'm turning into Un when he played this game. Well, when he played the turbo version anyway. Speaking of which, the turbo version of this game is actually on Wii Virtual Console, so if you want to play a pre-Ys Complete version of Ys 1 and 2, you probably can't go wrong with the turbo version. It actually has okay voice acting for an early 90s CD game, because they actually hired on some talent. Some of the luminaries of 80s voice acting, like Michael Bell, Jim Cummings, Alan Oppenheimer, and so on. Okay, oh, she's gone. Well, that's a second book of Ys. Oh god, the abandoned mine. The abandoned mine is a dungeon with tough monsters that can move quickly, and there's also some pretty limited visibility, which is why I'm going to put off going there as much as possible. You know, and buy armor, because otherwise I'm gonna get wrecked. You know, and remember to equip the armor this time. So, how's it hanging, Pim? Once again, Adol is the only man in the world with red hair. Pim, you are an asshole. Just give me your money and let's never speak to you again. So instead of just kicking off straight to the mine, there's actually a little event that I want to do first. Apparently, some guy named Luda from Zepik went off sleepwalking somewhere. So we're gonna go grab him and see if we can take him home or whatever. Which means going back to Barbado. And since this takes place in Barbado, this event definitely wasn't in the pre-complete versions of Ys 1 and 2. There's a small window to do this event, which is after you finish the shrine, but before you finish the Rastin mine. And sometimes it can take a little trouble to trigger, but I eventually figured it out. I just had to cycle through a few conversations with the doctor and the nurse. Now, normally you first encounter a Luda Gemma later, but that changed along with a few other things in Ys Complete. Other way. And if I was this bad at driving, I'd never make it back from the grocery store. Okay, thankfully I remember where Luda Gemma actually is. So, you need to find them based on the sound of the thumping. However, this isn't a perfect system, which means that I'm going to be running around like an idiot for a couple of minutes or so. So, really, Ys 1 and 2 Complete was really the first Where I Play I actually wanted to do. However, there was some wonkiness in the programming of the games that made them more or less impossible for me to record properly. And the DS port is really not representative of Ys 1 and 2 Complete because they added an attack button to a game that wasn't really designed for it. I mean, you could navigate with the stylus and have the bump system, or you could navigate with the D-pad and have the attack button, but there's no way to get the happy medium of D-pad navigation and body slam attack system. And I wasn't really going to spring for a PSP just to play Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles, no matter how tempting the idea was. So really, Xseed Games was something of a lifesaver to finally allow me to do the game that I really wanted to play. Well, record at least. And play. And here's Loot again. It all comes back to the storm wall, doesn't it? Oh, not another escort mission! Okay. There will be another escort mission, but not yet. And because we helped someone, we get experience and thus another level up. Oh, that's too bad. So that's it for this video, and next video we will be taking on the Rastin Mine and all of its horrible nastiness. See you then.